I remember being a little bit disappointed when I wrote this song, as it wasn't what I'd expected to write. The challenge for the particular month was women in the Bible. Now we have loads of books at home about women in the Bible, and I was determined to try and use the month to dig into some of those, to find an obscure woman in the Bible who never gets a look in, and to write a song out of her story. But then I woke up one morning and started to think about the widow who brought a small coin to the temple and put it in the offering. I remember Jesus telling his disciples that she'd put in more than all the others, as they'd given out of their wealth, but she had given out of her poverty. That she'd put in everything, all she had to live on. I was struck by two things. One was her faith. It was a tiny amount of money, but even that could have probably bought her something. Yet she chose to give it. I refer to it in the song as her money for that rainy day. She held nothing back, but gave her all. The second was the curse of comparison, and that's probably the theme that developed most in the song for me. She may have stayed away feeling that her gift was insignificant. Others may have made her feel ashamed, as they either saw what she was putting in, or they paraded what they were putting in. But Jesus saw the extravagance and generosity of her gift, and how she had outgiven everyone else who was there. So I don't know about you, but the curse of comparison feels like a real struggle for me at times. I've spent lots of time thinking about this over the years, and I've often got back to the point where I sense God encouraging me not to compare my life, my ministry, my impact with others. But I do go back around that loop from time to time. I think part of the reason for this is that I have some connections, some more tenuous than others, with people who have done quite remarkable things for the kingdom of God. The guy who was my dad's best man had a son. He's a year younger than me, and following a dramatic conversion in his 20s, he was fairly quickly involved in a major revival that broke out in America. He was the guest preacher, and he now heads up an international ministry that is running gospel missions across the world, seeing thousands of people following Jesus and many, many miracles. The son of my dad's best man, used by God to shake the nations. Then there was someone else who was in our youth group as we were growing up, the youngest of three sisters. A mission trip revealed a greater call on her life, and she set up an organisation that has built orphanages, rescued girls from sex trafficking, and works with women widowed by the civil war in Sri Lanka. One by one, her organisation is rescuing girls, motivated by the love of Jesus. In addition, she has her own show on TBN where she gets a chance to talk about the work of her organisation and speak with others who are doing dramatic things for the kingdom. And in our own church, a couple who have devoted their life to supporting child-headed families in Malawi, building an entire village where they can be looked after and developed, where they can be supported into education and work, where job opportunities are given and churches are established. And then there's me, who for most of my life has faithfully and consistently been part of the local church. For some of that time in leadership, for most of that time involved in worship, week in, week out. But the curse of comparison means that I look at my life and I look at the lives of people I've just described, and my offering feels really small and really insignificant in comparison. Every time I've reached the point in the cycle, I feel God's reminded me that I've continued to be faithful with the things that He's given me. But I still find I can fall back into that comparison. And yet I'm reminded by this widow that God isn't about amount, He's about obedience, He's about trust, He's about heart. So this song speaks to anybody who, when comparing yourself to others, somehow feels that you don't measure up. You don't pray, sing, preach, serve, give, the list goes on, well enough. God is looking at your heart. Bring what you can, and that will never be despised. Rather, your gift will be noticed by the one who does matter, who isn't into comparison anywhere near like you are.